You ever notice how some companies just seem to get marketing? Their campaigns aren't just flashy, they feel smart, effective, almost like they know exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And then, well, there are others, right? Throwing money at ads that just seem to miss the mark completely.
Hmm. Definitely.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do the successful ones manage it? How do they consistently translate that creative brilliance into real, measurable business results? What's like happening behind the scenes?
That's a fantastic observation. And it cuts right to the heart of what we call marketing management. A lot of people naturally focus on the visible stuff.
Right, the ads, the cool social media posts.
Exactly. The captivating commercial, the viral post, the sleek branding, those are the outputs you see. But what's less visible, and honestly, arguably far more critical, is the systematic, rigorous process that underpins all that creativity. It's the difference between just doing marketing and truly managing it effectively.
Hmm.
It's about making sure every single dollar spent, every creative idea is aligned with clear business objectives. And crucially, that its impact can actually be measured and, optimized.
That's where it gets really interesting for me, because today's deep dive is all about pulling back that curtain, isn't it?
It is.
We've been really immersing ourselves in the core principles of marketing management, focusing specifically on that structured approach companies use, not just to create marketing, but to govern it, execute it, and crucially, measure its real impact.
Mhm.
So our mission for you, our listener, is to walk away with a really clear understanding of that whole cycle of marketing management. And maybe most importantly, how modern companies are rigorously proving the tangible value of their marketing spend. It's kind of seeing marketing less as just pure art and more as a science too, driven by data and accountability.
And look, this isn't just academic theory. It's absolutely crucial knowledge for anyone who wants to truly understand business strategy. Or maybe you're preparing for a high-stakes meeting where marketing performance is on the agenda.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Or maybe you're just curious.
Yeah.
Curious about what makes a marketing campaign not just popular, but genuinely successful and measurable.
Mhm.
It fundamentally shifts your perspective. You go from just admiring the what of marketing to understanding the how and maybe most powerfully, the why it works, or sometimes why it doesn't.
It gives you a framework, right, to analyze what any company's doing.
Precisely. It's the framework that lets you analyze their strategic choices.
Okay, so let's jump right into the core of this whole discussion then, the management part in marketing. We often instinctively think marketing equals advertising, branding, social media buzz.
The creative stuff.
Yeah, the outward-facing, often flashy, creative elements. And look, that creative spark is absolutely essential. You need it to grab attention, build those emotional connections. But our sources really argue powerfully that the management aspect is equally, if not maybe even more, critical for sustained, scalable success.
I agree. It's like building the scaffolding, isn't it? That robust scaffolding that allows creativity to actually flourish and deliver consistent results.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and it's a crucial distinction. The source material really emphasizes that managing the marketing process requires 5 key functions. These are analysis, planning, implementation, organization, and control.
Okay, 5 functions.
And what's particularly insightful about this framework is that these aren't just, isolated steps you check off a list and forget about. They form a continuous dynamic cycle, like a feedback loop that drives ongoing improvement.
So it's not linear, it's circular.
Exactly. Think of it like a highly sophisticated engine.
Hmm.
Analysis provides the fuel and the diagnostic data. Planning designs the optimal route. Implementation is the actual journey. Organization is the engine's internal structure, letting it run efficiently. And control. That constantly monitors performance, making real-time adjustments.
I like that analogy.
And analysis doesn't just happen at the start. It feeds into every other activity, allowing for continuous refinement. This integrated approach makes sure marketing isn't just a series of disconnected campaigns, but a deliberate, strategic, and, importantly, adaptable effort.
And understanding this cycle, this framework, it gives you such a powerful lens to view any company's marketing, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Whether you're looking at a huge global tech giant or, your favorite local bakery down the street, you can start to kind of deconstruct their approach.
You can see where they're strong.
Yeah, maybe they're brilliant at analyzing market shifts. Or, critically, you can spot where there might be gaps in their process, maybe leading to missed opportunities or wasted resources. It really helps you see past the shiny surface of an ad.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's kick off at the very beginning of that cycle then, the foundational step. Marketing analysis.
Yeah.
You just can't build a house effectively without surveying the land first,
Right.
understanding the soil, knowing the local regulations.
Exactly. And it's the same in marketing. You can't launch a successful campaign without a deep understanding of your current situation, your strengths, your challenges, and the broader environment. Our sources stress it all begins with a complete analysis of the company's situation.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts. And the cornerstone of this initial analysis, a concept that's really fundamental to almost any business strategy discussion, is the SWOT analysis.
SWOT, SWOT.
Right. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a comprehensive, systematic evaluation of the company's current position within its environment. It's not just a casual brainstorm. It's a structured way of understanding your internal capabilities versus the external landscape.
Okay, let's really unpack SWOT,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people have heard the acronym, but maybe don't always grasp what each part means in a practical, strategic sense. It can be quite insightful when you dig in.
Absolutely. So, strengths. These are your internal capabilities, resources, any positive situational factors that give your company an edge in achieving its objectives.
So things you're good at, things you control.
Exactly. Things you do well, unique assets you possess, inherent advantages. Maybe you're known for unparalleled customer service. Or perhaps you hold proprietary technology, patents competitors can't replicate. Maybe you have an incredibly strong, recognizable brand. These are internal positive attributes that you control or can directly influence.
Okay, makes sense. Strengths are internal positive, so weaknesses then are the flip side, internal limitations.
Precisely. Weaknesses are the internal limitations and any negative situational factors that might interfere with your company's performance or hinder its ability to achieve its goals.
Like what, for example?
Well, perhaps you have an outdated operational system or a less diverse product portfolio compared to competitors. Maybe a restrictive internal bureaucracy that slows things down, or even just a limited marketing budget compared to the bigger players in your space. These are internal challenges you need to address or somehow mitigate.
Okay, so strengths and weaknesses are both internal factors, things happening inside the company, more or less within your control.
Right.
So opportunities and threats, I'm guessing those are external, things you can't directly control as much.
You're spot on. Opportunities are favorable factors or trends in the external environment that your company might be able to exploit to its advantage.
So things happening outside the company that could be good for you.
Exactly. These are external shifts or conditions you can potentially leverage. For example, maybe there's the emergence of a new consumer demographic that fits your product, or a technological breakthrough that lowers your production costs. Maybe a shift in public sentiment towards sustainability, which aligns perfectly with your brand values, or even a change in trade policy that suddenly opens up new markets. These are external currents you can potentially ride.
Got it. And threats then are the opposite, the potential pitfalls lurking outside.
Precisely. Threats are unfavorable external factors or trends that might present challenges to your company's performance, maybe in its long-term viability.
So things you need to watch out for.
Definitely. These are external forces outside your direct control that could negatively impact you. Think about new disruptive competitors suddenly entering your market, or maybe a sudden economic downturn that reduces consumer spending across the board, perhaps evolving government regulations that increase your operational costs, or even a shift in consumer tastes away from your core offering.
Oof, yeah, those can be scary.
They can. And the whole strategic goal of conducting this comprehensive SWOT analysis is to carefully match the company's internal strengths to those attractive external opportunities.
Play to your strengths when the conditions are right.
Exactly. While simultaneously working to eliminate or somehow overcome your internal weaknesses and strategically minimize the impact of those external threats, it's really about playing to your advantages and defending against your vulnerabilities in what's always a dynamic environment.
That distinction between internal and external, and then the proactive matching and mitigating, that's incredibly powerful when you think about it.
It really is.
You know, while we're discussing this in the context of like big corporations, the underlying principles of SWOT are just so versatile.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll find yourself applying this kind of structured thinking in so many areas, won't you? Whether it's analyzing a personal career move, maybe evaluating a new startup idea you have, or even just understanding the challenges and potential of a local nonprofit organization. It just provides such a clear, logical framework for strategic thinking way beyond just marketing. It's foundational stuff.
Totally agree. It's a core strategic tool.
Okay, so once you've done that thorough SWOT analysis, you've got all this insight, but you can't just just stop there, right? All that understanding has to translate into clear direction and, crucially, tangible action.
Exactly. You need a plan.
Which leads us perfectly to the next crucial function, marketing planning. This is where you lay out the meticulous blueprint for how you'll actually move from where you are now to where you want to be.
Absolutely. Marketing planning involved choosing very specific marketing strategies that will help the company attain its broader overall strategic objectives. Think of it like taking that grand corporate vision, maybe it's become the market leader in sustainable energy solutions,
Mm.
and translating it down into tangible, actionable marketing steps for a specific product or brand.
So it connects the big picture to the day-to-day.
Precisely. This detailed marketing plan becomes a comprehensive, living document for each business unit, product, or brand. It's the tangible roadmap for execution.
And our sources provide a fantastic breakdown of the typical sections you'd find in a really robust product or brand marketing plan. It's far more than just a brief memo, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's a deep dive into every facet of the marketing effort.
Okay.
Let's walk through these typical sections because each component really serves a distinct and vital purpose in creating a cohesive strategy. It almost always starts with an executive summary.
Right, the quick overview.
Exactly. It's a concise overview, maybe just a page or two, outlining the plan's main goals, key recommendations, and the overall strategic thrust. It's designed for busy senior executives who need to quickly grasp the essence of the plan without getting bogged down in every single detail right away.
So the Cliff's Notes version for the C-suite, what comes after that?
After the summary, you dive deep into the current marketing situation. This section paints a vivid, data-driven picture of where the product or company stands right now.
Okay, the baseline.
Exactly. It includes a detailed market description, identifying the target market, major customer segments, understanding customer needs, and analyzing relevant environmental factors like economic trends, tech shifts, sociocultural forces that might influence buying. You'll also find a product review detailing sales, prices, costs, gross margins for key products, and crucially, a comprehensive review of the competition.
Gotta know who you're up against.
Absolutely. Identifying major players, assessing their market positions, dissecting their strategies for product development, pricing, distribution, promotion, and finally, a review of distribution channels, evaluating recent sales trends and other developments in how your products actually reach customers. This is the "you can't know where you're going if you don't know exactly where you are" section. It's vital.
That sounds like it directly builds on the marketing analysis and SWOT we just talked about. It's taking those raw insights and presenting them as the current reality.
Precisely.
Oh,
And that flows directly into the next section, threats and opportunities analysis, which is essentially a more detailed, actionable restatement of your SWOT findings, but specifically tailored to this product or brand.
so narrowing the focus.
Right. It highlights the most significant opportunities you should try to exploit and the most pressing threats you need to mitigate. This section is vital for management to anticipate important positive or negative developments that could materially impact the firm and the strategic choices down the line.
Okay, so you've established your current position, the external forces at play. What are you actually trying to achieve with all of this? What are the goals?
That's where the objectives and issues section comes in. Drawing directly from the company's overarching corporate strategy, this part clearly states the specific, measurable marketing objectives the company aims to attain during the plan's timeframe.
Specific and measurable being key, I assume.
Absolutely critical. These objectives must be quantifiable. Things like increase market share by 5% in the next 12 months or improve customer satisfaction scores by 10 points. It also discusses key issues that will affect achieving them, maybe specific challenges in the market, or critical strategic decisions that need to be made to hit those objectives.
And then the real meat of it, the how. How do you plan to achieve those specific, measurable objectives?
Yes, the marketing strategy. This is the core. It outlines the broad marketing logic the business unit hopes to use to engage target customers, create superior customer value, and build lasting, profitable customer relationships.
So the game plan.
Exactly. It details the precise target markets you'll focus on. Your intended positioning in the minds of those customers, how you want them to perceive you relative to competitors. And critically, the marketing mix elements, the famous 4PS.
Product, price, place, promotion.
You got it. Product, what you're offering. Price, the value exchange. Place, how and where customers access it.
Right.
And promotion, how you communicate its value. This section also details the proposed marketing expenditure levels, explaining how each strategic choice directly responds to the threats, opportunities, and critical issues identified earlier. It's all about creating differentiated value that compels customers to engage, which in turn allows you to capture value back.
Okay, so this is where all that analysis and the objectives really come together to a coherent set of actions. It connects the dots between understanding your landscape and actually devising a winning approach. But, a strategy, however brilliant, is still just a concept on paper. How do you move from this broad logic to specific day-to-day actions?
Ah, that's the purpose of the execution plan section. This is the highly practical part, where those marketing strategies are meticulously translated into specific action programs and tactics.
Getting down to brass tacks.
Exactly. This section answers the critical operational questions. What exactly will be done? When will it be done? What are the key milestones and deadlines? Who is responsible for doing it? Which teams or individuals are accountable? And, importantly, how much will it cost? This is where the rubber meets the road, detailing the tactical steps for every single initiative, from specific ad campaigns to product launch schedules.
Of course, every action has a dollar sign attached. That's where the budget comes in, right?
Exactly. The budget section provides a supporting marketing budget, which is essentially a projected profit and loss statement. It meticulously details the expected revenues you hope to generate from the marketing efforts versus all the expected cost production, distribution, the marketing activities themselves. The difference, of course, is the projected profit or loss. This budget is critical. It becomes the financial basis for everything from material procurement and production scheduling to personnel planning. It guides the overall marketing operation and ensures financial viability. It's how you allocate resources effectively.
Okay, so you've analyzed, planned, budgeted, laid out exactly who does what and when. Seems pretty thorough, but how do you know if it's all actually working as intended? Or if, something needs to be adjusted along the way?
That's the final and arguably one of the most crucial sections, controls. This outlines the specific metrics and control procedures that will be used to monitor progress throughout the plan's duration.
The accountability piece.
Precisely. It empowers management to regularly review implementation results, quickly spot products or initiatives that are not meeting their goals, and, vitally, includes explicit measures of return on marketing investment, which we'll definitely dive into more detail on shortly. It's the accountability mechanism that ensures the plan remains dynamic and responsive, not just a static document gathering dust.
Wow, that's an incredibly detailed and interconnected structure. It powerfully illustrates that marketing isn't just about, a sudden burst of creative genius. It's about a deeply systematic, disciplined approach that transforms ideas into tangible outcomes.
It really is.
And what's fascinating is that this detailed plan structure isn't just for massive multinational corporations, is it? Even for smaller businesses or maybe significant personal projects. Systematically outlining a plan with these kinds of elements dramatically increases your chances of success. It provides just unparalleled clarity, focus, and a clear path forward.
Absolutely. The principles scale.
Okay, so you've got this meticulously crafted marketing plan, a strategic masterpiece, let's say. But as our sources clearly state, planning good strategies is only a start towards successful marketing. And then this killer line. A brilliant marketing strategy counts for little if the company fails to implement it properly.
Oof. Yeah.
This brings us to the third core function, marketing implementation. And this is where that crucial distinction between doing the right things, which is strategy, and doing things right, which is implementation, really comes into sharp focus.
You've hit on a critical point there. While marketing planning answers the what and why of marketing activities, implementation is where the rubber really meets the road. It addresses the who, where, when, and how.
The practicalities.
Exactly. It's the complex process that transforms those carefully articulated marketing plans and strategies into tangible, coordinated marketing actions designed to achieve those strategic objectives. It's the difference between having, say, an architectural blueprint for a stunning building and actually managing the construction process day to day to erect it flawlessly.
And our sources highlight that effective implementation isn't just like a basic requirement, it can actually be a major source of competitive advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
Two companies could theoretically have the exact same brilliant strategy on paper, but the one that executes it faster or more efficiently or just more consistently often gains the decisive edge in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Think about the sheer complexity involved sometimes.
Mhm.
Coordinating different departments, marketing, sales, operations, finance. managing external partners like ad agencies or logistics firms, adhering to strict timelines, ensuring consistent brand messaging across maybe dozens of different platforms, and reacting to unforeseen market shifts, all while maintaining quality. It's often far, far easier to conceptualize an ingenious marketing strategy than it is to perfectly carry it out in the messy real world.
Yeah, reality bites sometimes.
It does, and the source provides a fantastic, really illustrative example of this with Noon, the e-commerce platform that launched in the UAE. Their success wasn't just about being another Amazon. It was heavily driven by impeccable implementation.
That was a compelling case study. What specifically made their implementation strategy stand out so much?
Well, Noon made a very bold market promise right out of the gate. Everything you need would be delivered same next day. Now, that was an incredibly ambitious pledge, especially in a region with complex logistics challenges.
Huge promise, hard to deliver.
Extremely. So, to turn that promise into reality, their implementation had to be incredibly robust and highly synchronized across multiple teams. For instance, their customer engagement team wasn't just focused on, pretty visuals. They crafted the launch campaign, the ad copy, the messaging specifically to build anticipation and belief in that rapid delivery promise. Every visual, every tagline had to reinforce the idea that they could actually deliver on that speed.
So the marketing itself was setting a very high operational expectation. They were marketing their execution capability almost.
Precisely. Simultaneously, their category management team was working relentlessly behind the scenes, partnering with an incredibly diverse range of local retailers and brands to ensure that they genuinely have everything you need available on their platform. You can't promise vast selection if your digital shelves are sparse, right? This involved intricate negotiations, complex onboarding processes for all those partners.
A huge vendor management task.
Massive. And at the exact same time, their warehouse and logistics department was basically building a completely synchronized business process from the ground up, specifically designed for rapid fulfillment and timely delivery. This meant investing heavily in cutting-edge warehouse automation, efficient routing algorithms for their delivery fleet, and a highly trained logistics workforce capable of operating at that speed.
That sounds like an enormous integrated logistical puzzle, especially trying to do same-day delivery across varying urban and maybe even rural areas.
It absolutely was a huge undertaking. And then, to complete that seamless customer experience, their operations team was creating an incredibly efficient and user-friendly system for handling payments, processing returns, and managing exchanges. Just imagine the customer frustration if they got their items super quickly, but then faced a bureaucratic nightmare trying to return something or resolve a simple payment issue.
Yeah, that would kill the whole experience.
Exactly. Noon understood that every single customer touchpoint, from the moment they started browsing the site to any post-purchase support needed, had to be flawlessly executed. So this relentless focus on translating a bold strategy into a truly actionable plan, combined with such a robust cross-functional emphasis on seamless implementation that was absolutely critical to Noon's rapid success and its competitive differentiation in the GCC region. It wasn't just the innovative idea of an e-commerce platform. It was their unparalleled ability to flawlessly execute that customer promise end-to-end that truly made them shine.
That really drives home the idea, doesn't it, that doing things right can be the ultimate differentiator. Maybe sometimes even more important than just having brilliant ideas. It's the meticulous, coordinated execution of those ideas that often separates the market leaders from the also-rans.
Well said.
And look, to execute properly, consistently, and especially at scale, you absolutely need the right structure in place. Which leads us perfectly into the next function, marketing department organization.
That's an excellent segue, because as companies grow and their marketing efforts become more sophisticated, more multifaceted, just relying on one person or maybe an ad hoc group simply isn't sustainable anymore. A dedicated, well-structured marketing department becomes absolutely essential to efficiently carry out those complex strategies and plans we just talked about.
You need specialists.
You do. You transition from maybe a generalist doing a bit of everything to specialized teams focusing on specific, intricate marketing activities.
And we're seeing a pretty significant overarching trend here, aren't we? The elevated role and the rising prominence of the Chief Marketing Officer, or CMO.
Yes, it's a very clear and increasingly vital trend across almost all industries. Many companies have now not only created but also significantly empowered a CMO position. This person doesn't just manage, say, advertising or digital. They head up the company's entire marketing operation.
The whole shebang.
The whole shebang. And crucially, they represent the customer's voice on the company's top management team. They often work intimately with other C-level executives like the chief operating officer or chief financial officer, ensuring marketing is deeply integrated into the overall business strategy, not siloed off somewhere.
So they're sitting at the highest strategic table, influencing the entire corporate direction. What's their core mandate, really, in that incredibly influential position?
Their key role, as our source points out very clearly, is to champion the customer's cause. And this is a profound shift.
Oh,
Because historically, marketing might have been perceived primarily as maybe a creative cost center or a department mainly focused on just pushing out advertising. Now, the CMO is seen as the primary advocate for the customer, right there in the boardroom, ensuring that every major strategic decision considers the customer's needs, their experiences, and their long-term value to the company.
that's a big responsibility.
It is. And to underscore this critical focus, many forward-thinking companies are even calling their top marketer the Chief Customer Experience Officer or the Chief Customer Value Officer. This isn't just, a fancy change in title. It signifies a fundamental reorientation of the entire enterprise around the customer.
Wow.
The modern CMO, instead of just overseeing big-picture marketing campaigns like in the old days, is now often responsible for the entire customer journey and experience from initial awareness all the way through to post-purchase loyalty and advocacy. It's about ensuring every single interaction a customer has with the brand across all possible touch points aligns seamlessly with the business strategy and delivers consistent value.
That's a massive expansion of responsibility from just overseeing ads to basically orchestrating the entire customer relationship lifecycle. And within that huge mandate, different companies structure their marketing departments differently, right? Depending on their unique needs, their product portfolios, their target markets.
Precisely. There isn't a one-size-fits-all structure. There's several common forms of marketing organization, and each has its own strengths depending on the specific company's context. The most common, and often the sort of foundational structure, is the functional organization.
Okay, functional, what does that look like?
Here, different marketing activities are headed by a functional specialist. So you'd typically have a dedicated sales manager, an advertising manager, a digital media manager, maybe a customer service manager, a new product development manager, and so on. Each expert handles their specific area of expertise, leading to deep specialization within each function.
Okay, so highly specialized teams for each core function. What if a company operates across a vast geographic area, maybe with really diverse local markets?
Then they often leverage a geographic organization, either exclusively or maybe in parallel with a functional structure. This involves assigning sales and marketing people to specific countries, regions, or even down to local districts. This structure is ideal when there are significant local market differences in culture, consumer preferences, distribution channels, or the competitive landscape. It allows for highly localized strategies and campaigns tailored to each specific area.
Makes sense for global companies. Now, what about companies that boast a huge array of different products or brands? How do they typically organize their marketing efforts?
For companies with many diverse products or brands, a product management organization usually makes the most sense. Here, a specific manager, or sometimes a dedicated team, is made responsible for the marketing strategies and the overall performance of one particular product or brand. Think of a massive consumer goods conglomerate like P&G or Unilever with dozens of distinct brands, each with its own identity and target market. Each brand would likely have its own dedicated product manager or brand manager driving its success.
Okay, focused on the product or brand itself. What if a company sells a fairly unified product line, or maybe a core service, but to very different kinds of customers with distinct needs?
Good question. In that scenario, a market or customer management organization might be the optimal choice. This is best suited for companies that sell a relatively homogeneous product line, but to diverse customer segments, where each segment has unique purchasing behaviors, needs, or preferences. For instance, think about a cloud software provider. They might sell the same core platform, but they sell it to small businesses, large enterprises, and maybe educational institutions. Each of those segments is very different, so they might have separate teams focused on understanding and serving the unique needs of each of those distinct customer segments.
Tailoring the approach to the customer type.
Exactly.
And I imagine the largest, most complex global companies probably don't stick rigidly to just one of these models, but likely combine them in some sophisticated way.
Absolutely. That's very common. Large companies that produce many different products flowing into many different geographic areas and serving many different customer markets typically employ a sophisticated hybrid approach. They'll combine elements of functional, geographic, product, and market organization forms. They meticulously design these hybrid structures to best suit their incredibly complex operations and ensure they have optimal market coverage and responsiveness.
This whole evolution in organizational structure is incredibly telling, isn't it? It really reflects what companies truly prioritize. When you design your marketing department, you're essentially reflecting your core values and your strategic focus.
That's a great way to put it. Structure follows strategy.
And what our source material points out as a really significant recent evolution is this profound shift,
Hmm.
moving away from just managing products or brands in isolation toward a much deeper focus on customer management.
Yes, this is more than just a minor tweak. It's a fundamental reorientation for many companies. Some are actively shifting their focus away from solely managing, say, product or brand profitability, and instead they're concentrating intensely on managing customer profitability and ultimately building long-term customer equity.
Customer equity,
Hmm.
meaning the total value of their customer base.
Exactly. They are starting to think of themselves not merely as managing portfolios of brands, but as strategically managing portfolios of customers. It's a powerful strategic pivot. It moves the spotlight from the product being the star to the customer, and that customer's entire lifetime relationship with the brand being the central focus.
So it's less about this quarter's sales for product X.
Yeah. And more about the long-term value of customer Y. Instead of managing the fortunes of a single brand in isolation, they now conceptualize their role as managing customer brand engagement, shaping customer experiences, and nurturing deep relationships over the entire customer lifecycle. This has massive implications, obviously, for how they allocate resources, how they develop new products, and fundamentally how they measure success.
That's a truly massive shift in perspective, moving from a maybe transactional focus on individual product sales to this long-term relationship-based view of the customer as a strategic asset. It fundamentally forces companies to rethink the entire customer journey, doesn't it? How different products and services fit into that journey and how they can continually deepen that relationship over time. It's fascinating to consider how these organizational structures aren't just boxes on an org chart, but profound reflections of a company's strategic priorities and how they ultimately directly impact our experience as customers.
Absolutely. The structure enables the customer focus.
All right, so we've meticulously analyzed the landscape, we've crafted a detailed strategic plan, we've put the right structures and teams in place for hopefully impeccable implementation. But here's the reality check. The market is dynamic, it's unpredictable, it's full of surprises.
Always.
Plans often encounter unexpected headwinds or maybe even unexpected opportunities pop up. This is precisely where the fifth and final core function becomes absolutely indispensable: marketing control.
You've highlighted the crucial element of real-world dynamism. Things change. Our sources make it abundantly clear. Because many surprises occur during the implementation. Whether positive or negative, marketers must practice constant marketing control.
Constant control, not just at the end.
No, continuously. It's not about rigid adherence to some static plan carved in stone. It's about a continuous process of evaluating actual results against the planned objectives and, critically, taking timely corrective action to ensure that the desired outcomes are attained. It's the feedback loop that completes the cycle, ensuring agility, responsiveness, and continuous improvement. Without control, even the most brilliant plans can veer wildly off course and ultimately fail.
So it's far more than just set it and forget it. It's about constant vigilance and adaptability. What are the specific steps involved in this essential control process? How does it actually work?
The control process typically involves four crucial interconnected steps. First, management must set specific marketing goals. This seems obvious, maybe, but these goals must be absolutely clear, measurable, and time-bound. You can't effectively measure progress if you haven't precisely defined what success looks like from the outset.
Okay, clear goals first. Got it.
Second, you rigorously measure performance in the marketplace. This involves systematically collecting and analyzing data on how your marketing activities are actually performing against those predefined goals. Are sales targets being met? Are customer acquisition costs staying within budget? Is brand awareness increasing as planned? You need the real data.
So you have the clear goal and you have the objective data on actual performance. What's the next critical step in closing that loop? What do you do with that information?
The third step is to evaluate the causes of any significant differences between your expected performance and your actual performance. This is the diagnostic phase. You need to understand why there's a gap. Is it an issue with the initial strategy itself? Perhaps it was flawed or based on incorrect assumptions? Was it a problem with the implementation, maybe a breakdown in coordination, a lack of resources, or just poor execution? Or are there external, unforeseen market changes that have impacted performance, like a new competitor suddenly emerged, or there was an economic shift, or a sudden change in consumer behavior? You have to dig into the why.
Find the root cause.
Exactly. And finally, based on that thorough evaluation, management takes corrective action. This might involve adjusting your action programs, perhaps tweaking your advertising message, reevaluating your pricing strategy, maybe reallocating your budget, or shifting your distribution channels. In more significant cases, if the market environment has drastically shifted or your initial assumptions were fundamentally flawed, it might even mean revising the original goals themselves. You have to be willing to adapt.
That sounds like a really powerful iterative cycle, almost like that plan, do, check, act quality cycle, but applied specifically to marketing. And our sources differentiate between two main types of control, don't they? Addressing different time horizons or levels.
They do, and it's an important distinction to understand. There's operating control, which involves checking ongoing performance against the annual plan. Its primary purpose is to ensure the company achieves the sales, profits, and other goals set out in its yearly budget and operational targets.
So short-term focus.
Yes, this form of control is typically conducted on a short-term, regular basis, maybe daily, weekly, or monthly. It also often involves determining the profitability of different products, specific sales territories, individual customer segments, and various marketing channels. It's really about keeping the ship on its intended course in the immediate future, making sure you hit those near-term numbers.
Okay, so operating control is the tactical day-to-day, are we hitting our numbers this quarter kind of thing. What's the other broader type?
The other type is strategic control. This involves a much broader, more periodic reassessment of whether the company's basic strategies, its fundamental approach to the market, are still well matched to its core opportunities. This is absolutely critical because marketing strategies and programs, however brilliant they might have been when conceived, can quickly become outdated in today's rapidly evolving business landscape.
Things change fast.
Incredibly fast. What delivered results last year, or even last quarter, might not be effective today due to accelerated changes in technology, shifts in consumer behavior, significant competitive moves, you name it. So every company really should periodically, systematically reassess its overall approach to the marketplace to ensure its fundamental strategies remain relevant, effective, and aligned with its long-term vision. This is asking the bigger question. Are we still playing the right game on the right field with the right rules?
That's a truly powerful distinction. Operating control makes sure you're running the current race efficiently, while strategic control makes sure you're still running the right race in the first place.
Yeah.
Fascinating. This entire function of control, then, ensures both tactical accountability and strategic adaptability, which are absolutely crucial for sustained long-term success in any competitive environment.
Could agree more.
And it's truly where the return aspect of marketing starts to become really transparent, isn't it? Because you're constantly monitoring, measuring, and correcting course to ensure you're actually generating tangible value from those marketing efforts.
Exactly. It closes the loop and links activity to results.
Okay, this brings us perfectly to our next big topic, which is perhaps one of the most transformative shifts we've seen in modern business. The evolving landscape of marketing measurement and this relentless drive now to prove marketing ROI.
Yes, the holy grail.
Kind of. Historically, for many decades, marketing often felt like this elusive, almost magical thing. Our sources confirm this, noting that in the past, many marketers felt pretty comfortable spending freely on big, expensive marketing programs, flashy advertising campaigns, often without diligently thinking about the precise financial returns on their spending.
Right. The focus was different.
Yeah, their goals were often broad, somewhat intangible things like build brands and consumer preference. There was this belief that marketing primarily produced these creative, hard-to-quantify outcomes.
That's an astute historical observation. The prevailing perception really was that marketing was perhaps more art than science, and its outcomes were notoriously difficult to pin down in hard numbers. You'd launch a massive high-profile campaign, people would see it, and the brand would feel stronger or more visible.
That gut feeling.
Exactly. But directly linking that increased sentiment or awareness to specific profits or even just a measurable return on the often significant investment was a considerable challenge. And frankly, It often wasn't even the primary focus back then.
But things have changed.
Massively. As our sources emphatically state, those free spending days, well, they've long since been replaced by a new, rigorous era of marketing measurement and accountability. Today, marketers are increasingly held directly accountable for meticulously linking their strategies and tactics to measurable marketing performance outcomes. The pressure from the C-suite, from finance, from shareholders, it's intense. They have to prove tangible value, not just create ephemeral buzz or artistic campaigns.
And this monumental shift towards accountability actually impacts us as consumers too, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, because as companies become more targeted, more data-driven, and just generally more efficient with their marketing spend, it ideally means less wasted ad dollars, right? Fewer irrelevant messages bombarding us, and ultimately, maybe more thoughtful, personalized, and valuable interactions for us. It makes marketing smarter and ideally more respectful of our attention.
That's a great point. It should make the entire ecosystem more intelligent and responsive. But even with this new era of intense accountability, one of the most enduring and significant challenges still remains. Precisely measuring marketing return on investment, or marketing ROI. It's conceptually simple, but operationally, it can be incredibly complex.
Okay, let's clearly define marketing ROI before we dive into why it's so difficult. Our sources define it as the net return from a marketing investment divided by the costs of the marketing investment. Basically, it measures the profits generated by investments in marketing activities. On paper, it sounds like a straightforward accounting problem, doesn't it? So why is it so notoriously difficult to measure accurately in practice?
Well, it's difficult primarily because, unlike financial ROI, where both the R, the return, and the I, the investment, are uniformly measured in easily quantifiable dollars, that's frequently just not the case in marketing.
Ah, the inputs and outputs aren't always clear dollars.
Exactly. Consider a capital investment. If a factory buys a new piece of machinery, the productivity gains or the cost savings are usually fairly straightforward to quantify in dollar terms over time. But for marketing, many of the crucial returns, things like improved customer engagement, the subtle but powerful impact of brand-building advertising, enhanced brand perception, they aren't easily converted into precise, immediate dollar figures. How do you put a precise monetary value on a customer feeling more connected or engaged with your brand, especially when that connection might influence future purchases across various product lines, maybe years down the road?
That's a huge conundrum, isn't it? How do you quantify something as intangible as increased customer affinity or brand loyalty in dollars and cents?
It is, and that's precisely where the complexity lies. Moreover, some of the most significant benefits of marketing might not be immediate at all. They only play out over a long run.
Like planting seeds.
Exactly. You might invest heavily today in a broad brand-building campaign or maybe a new content strategy or community engagement initiative. These things might not yield immediate sales spikes, but instead, they foster deep loyalty, strengthen brand equity, cultivate positive word of mouth, all of which pays off significantly, but maybe years down the line. How do you accurately attribute that future long-term value back to today's specific marketing investment? It's a challenge of both measurement and attribution over time.
The source provides that fantastic and very relatable example of this measurement challenge. The Super Bowl ad. It's like the peak of expensive, visible marketing efforts.
Yes, that's a perfect high-stakes illustration of the problem. A single 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl can reach well over 100 million consumers. Huge reach. But the cost for just that airtime alone can be almost $6.5 million these days.
Wow, just for 30 seconds.
Right. And that's not even counting the millions more potentially spent on producing the ad, maybe getting celebrity endorsements, running pre- and post-campaign buzz marketing around it. So the fundamental question then becomes, how do you precisely measure the tangible return on such a massive broad-reach investment in terms of immediate sales, short-term profits, or even the long-term impact on building customer engagement and relationships? It's definitely not a simple equation of X dollars in, Y dollars out from a direct sale that you can attribute solely to that 30 seconds of airtime.
So what do companies look at then?
Well, they might look at things like website traffic spikes during and immediately after the ad airs, social media mentions and sentiment analysis, search query volume for their brand name, maybe app downloads if applicable, or they might even conduct brand awareness surveys before and after the game to see if the needle moved. But isolating the precise financial ROI from that single ad amidst all the other noise and factors influencing consumer behavior, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah. So next time you see one of those major ad campaigns, particularly something as high profile as a Super Bowl commercial, It's really worth considering that immense complexity behind it. What might be the myriad of unseen, intangible, and long-term metrics that company is desperately trying to capture beyond just immediate direct sales? And how on earth do they even begin to justify that colossal investment to their CFO and shareholders?
It's a constant challenge for CMOs.
Okay, so given these inherent challenges in precisely measuring marketing ROI, companies clearly need increasingly sophisticated tools and metrics to gauge what they can. And our sources point to two key interconnected approaches that are rapidly gaining prominence: the implementation of robust marketing dashboards and a significant shift towards much more customer-centric metrics. Let's start with these dashboards. What are they exactly?
Marketing dashboards are indeed a crucial solution for trying to bring some clarity to all this complexity. The analogy provided in the source is spot on, I think. Just as an automobile dashboard presents drivers with all the vital details on how their car is performing, speed, fuel level, engine temperature, warning lights, a comprehensive marketing dashboard gives marketers the detailed, often real-time measures they need to assess and strategically adjust their marketing efforts.
So it's like a command center.
Kind of. It's typically a centralized visual display that aggregates key performance indicators, or KPIs, into a single digestible view. This allows for quick insights and hopefully faster, more informed decision-making. No more digging through dozens of spreadsheets.
Can you give us a concrete example of a company effectively using a marketing dashboard to manage maybe a complex portfolio?
Yeah, the source highlights VF Corporation, which is a truly massive global apparel and footwear company.
Hmm.
They're behind iconic brands most people would know, like Smartwool, The North Face, Vans, Red Cap, Timberland. A lot of big names.
Okay, yeah, huge portfolio.
Huge. They utilize a sophisticated marketing dashboard to meticulously track the performance of their 20 different lifestyle apparel brands. Their dashboard tracks a whole range of critical metrics, things like brand equity and trends, essentially, the added value their brand names provide in the market, share of voice, meaning how much of the public conversation and media space they own within their respective categories, market share, obviously, across different product lines and geographies, online sentiment analyzing social media mentions, blog post reviews to gauge public perception, is it positive, negative, neutral? And of course, trying to track marketing ROI in key markets worldwide.
That's a lot of data points.
It is. And crucially, they track these metrics not only for their own diverse portfolio of VF brands, but also, where possible, for key competing brands. This allows for powerful competitive benchmarking and helps them make agile strategic adjustments. It provides a holistic, comparative view of their market position and the relative effectiveness of their marketing spend versus the competition.
Wow, so they're not just looking at their own performance in a vacuum, but constantly comparing how they stack up against the entire competitive landscape. That's incredibly powerful for refining strategies.
Absolutely.
But beyond these sort of standard market-based metrics on the dashboard, you mentioned companies are increasingly adopting these customer-centered measures. What exactly are those and why are they becoming so vital? What's the shift there?
This is where marketing truly evolves, I think, from simply selling products transactionally to strategically building valuable long-term relationships. It's recognizing customers as enduring assets, not just one-off sales. So beyond those traditional performance measures like sales volume, market share percentage, or maybe brand awareness scores, most major marketers today are increasingly integrating and prioritizing deeply customer-centered measures of marketing impact. These metrics fundamentally shift the focus from individual transactions to the cumulative value of the customer relationship over time.
Okay, so moving beyond the single sale, what are some of these specific customer-centered metrics that companies are now tracking so closely?
Well, they include crucial metrics like customer acquisition, but focusing not just on how many new customers you gain, but also the cost and the quality of those acquisitions. Are they the right kind of customers? There's customer engagement, measuring how actively and meaningfully customers interact with your brand across various channels, not just buying, but commenting, sharing, participating. There's customer experience, evaluating the overall journey and the emotional response a customer has at every single touch point with your brand. Then there's customer retention, meticulously tracking how many customers you keep over time, which is a really powerful indicator of loyalty and satisfaction.
Keeping customers is usually cheaper than acquiring new ones, right?
Generally, yes. Then there's customer lifetime value, CLTV. This is a really profound one. It involves estimating the total net revenue a customer is expected to generate throughout their entire relationship with your brand, not just from a single purchase, looking at the whole lifespan. And finally, there's customer equity.
Which you mentioned earlier.
Right. This represents the combined lifetime values of all your current and potential customers. It essentially quantifies the total value of your entire customer base as a strategic asset for the company.
These aren't just about the immediate transaction at all, then, are they? They're about something much more profound and long term. It really does sound like a shift from a short term sales mentality to more of a long term investment strategy focused on the customer base itself.
Exactly. That's the core idea. The source powerfully emphasizes that these customer-centered measures capture not only current marketing performance, but also provide a strong predictive indicator of future performance. Why? Because they directly reflect the strength and the durability of your customer relationships. It's a profound shift from just chasing the next single sale to actively building and nurturing a valuable customer base that will hopefully continue to generate sustainable revenue and positive referrals over many, many years. This truly signifies a deeper, more sophisticated understanding of the customer's long-term strategic value, moving beyond just that single purchase to recognizing them as the ultimate renewable asset for the business.
So, writing all of this up, then, it really clarifies that marketing expenditures aren't just, costs to be minimized on a balance sheet somewhere. They are, as figure 2.8 in our source material powerfully visualizes it, true investments. These investments produce measurable returns, primarily in the form of more profitable customer engagement and building those enduring customer relationships.
That's the absolutely critical takeaway, I think. It's the culmination of this entire deep dive into marketing management and measurement. It forms a remarkably clear and compelling chain of value. It starts with those strategic marketing investments, whether it's an analysis, planning, implementation, or organization. Those investments then directly lead to improved customer value, deeper customer engagement, and higher customer
Yeah.
satisfaction.
Which then leads to.
This, in turn, fuels an increase in customer attraction and, crucially, customer retention. When you attract and retain more valuable customers, that then directly increases the individual customer lifetime values, CLTV, and consequently, it increases the firm's overall customer equity.
The total value of the customer base grows.
Exactly. And finally, this increased customer equity, when meticulously measured in relation to the initial cost of those marketing investments, determines the quantifiable return on marketing investment. It meticulously transforms marketing from what might have been perceived as just an expense line item into a tangible strategic driver of overall enterprise value and long-term profitability.
So it's a beautifully closed loop, isn't it? You make a strategic investment in marketing, which helps build stronger relationships, which leads to more valuable customers over their lifetime, which ultimately proves and justifies the initial investment.
Precisely. As one chief marketing officer who was quoted in our source articulates it perfectly, you have to be able to move on to those deeper engagement metrics, which show that for the money that I'm spending, here are the various programs that are working in terms of driving engagement with customers and ultimately driving purchase behavior and revenue. It truly boils down to the idea that generating better marketing ROI begins with setting clear customer-centric objectives that are intrinsically based in understanding and influencing the entire consumer decision journey, not just the final purchase click. It's a far, far cry from just throwing money at a flashy ad and vaguely hoping for the best.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, at the end of the day? It means modern marketing is truly becoming a precise science just as much as it remains an inspiring art. It's rigorously driven by data, by intense accountability, and by a sophisticated, holistic understanding of the customer's end-to-end journey and their fundamental long-term value to the business. It's an incredibly dynamic field where creativity is amplified by strategy, and maybe intuition is increasingly validated or challenged by metrics.
Well put. It's a fascinating blend.
And there you have it. That was our deep dive into the true management side of marketing. We've journeyed through those 5 core interconnected functions, the crucial analysis that meticulously informs every decision, the detailed planning that blueprints the precise actions, the vital implementation that hopefully flawlessly brings those plans to life, the strategic organization that structures success and champions the customer, and that constant control that ensures accountability, adaptability, and continuous improvement.
A full cycle.
Exactly. And then we explored the critical ongoing evolution of measuring marketing ROI, moving beyond maybe broad, sometimes intangible goals to these granular, customer-centric metrics that powerfully prove marketing's tangible value as a strategic investment, not merely an expense line.
And, this profound shift towards customer-centric metrics and this laser focus on building customer equity, It raises a really fascinating and perhaps provocative question for the future of business, doesn't it?
Oh, what's that?
Well, given that companies are now increasingly prioritizing the long-term cumulative value of a customer relationship, maybe above all else, what fundamental implications does this have for the types of products and services companies will choose to prioritize developing and bringing to market in the years to come?
How does it change what they actually make and sell?
Exactly. How might this drive innovation aimed not just at making a single immediate sale, but at continually deepening customer relationships and perpetually increasing their lifetime value over many, many years? What does that future look like?
Hmm, that is something profound to ponder. As you observe the next big marketing campaign unfold, and perhaps even as you evaluate your own long-term relationships with the brands you choose to engage with. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive.